details. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I started my mobile detailing business and how I was able to quit my job and make my investment back in the first month of the business. I'm going to cover a variety of topics. These are the foundational steps that I took in order to start my business off on the right foot. The first topic I'm going to touch on is startup costs, my startup budget, the finances, and everything that was included within that. So when talking about the finances and the startup costs going into it, it goes to a year prior before I even started my business. A year before I started my business, I started setting aside $250 a month. So I did that for a full year and had $3,000 that I was able to put into my business with startup costs, equipment, tools, and everything that I needed. I had already been researching tools and equipment and the things that were necessary. I had created a spreadsheet. Within that spreadsheet, I had tools and equipment and then the products separated. With each subject, I also had the price of each thing, so I knew how much I was going to spend and if I was going to stay within my $3,000 budget or not. This was extremely helpful because I was able to look at the items that I needed and then the prices of each item, and I was able to rule out things that were necessary and things that weren't necessary, things that I needed and things that I did not need. Based off of your situation, you can decide what you think is necessary and what you think is optional. I wanted to have a higher price that I could start with because there were certain things that were non-negotiables for me, such as a water tank to supply my own water and then a generator to have my own power. And the reason I thought that these things were important for me is because I didn't want the customers that I could serve to be limited to having to use their own water and power. I wanted to be able to have everything on my own so that I could serve all the customers that were interested in my service. With all of this, it really differs on your situation, what you need, what you want, what your desires are when starting your business. That $3,000 may sound like a lot. You can start off for less than that. You can get a different pressure washer, you can get different tools. But with the tools that I got as well, I wanted them to last for a long time. I didn't want them to give out in the first month or first 6 months even. I wanted them to last for years to come with the business so that I had a strong foundation and I wasn't having to reinvest right away into more equipment. The second topic I want to touch on is how I created my own service menu and how I arrived at the prices that I did for my packages. So what I did was I created another spreadsheet and I researched local detailers and found the detailers who had their prices public, and then I wrote those prices down into a spreadsheet based off of the package, the size of the vehicle. I had 8 total detailers that I was looking at the prices of their menus and how much they were charging for certain services. Once I averaged out all of the prices that each detailer had per service, I was able to get a general idea of what detailers charge per package in my area. So once I had this general idea and number, I was able to determine what caliber of service I could offer and if I could compete with those prices. So I ultimately wanted to create competitive prices and I had detailing experience. So I figured that my prices could be close to what I was averaging out from all those other 8 detailers. But once I figured out my pricing, I went ahead and I made a service menu or a pricing menu. And the way that I did this is I went to Canva. It is a app and a website where they have templates where you can create menus, logos, you can create a bunch of different things on it. But what I used it for was to create my service menu. I was able to personalize my service menu. I think I had a total of 9 packages on the service menu. I was able to personalize it and then have my logo in the background and then have a very professional looking service menu to start off with. It was a good start for once I started acquiring customers, I could send over my menu. The third topic that I want to talk about is how I created my logo. It's a pretty simple thing. I realized that I didn't have any graphic design experience. I didn't have any marketing experience. So I was struggling with creating a logo on my own. So I just kind of gave up and was like, I'm going to pay somebody to do this. I went to Fiverr. There's a website and an app. Fiverr has different freelancers on the app that do different services. The service that I found on Fiverr that I chose was a logo creator. So I found somebody who could create my logo and that only cost me around $35. The logo isn't like the best logo, but you get what you pay for. It's ultimately better than anything I could create, and it was a perfect starting point for my business. The fourth topic I want to talk about is how I created my own LLC. I'm not an expert on this, but from my experience, it was rather simple to start my own LLC. I basically went to the California Secretary of State website and followed the instructions for registering my business as a LLC. There were different forms that I had to fill out and provide information on. So I did all of that. There's a fee of $70. I think the fee was waived during the time that I was starting. I didn't really have to pay anything to start my LLC, but it was as simple as that. I filled out the forms, followed the instructions, and was able to start. All right, so for the fifth topic, I'm going to touch on how I got my first clientele. So the way that I got my first clientele is, of course, I started letting everybody know, friends and family in the area, that I was starting my own mobile detailing business. And then secondly, the one that really helped me out the most was I made a post on this app called Nextdoor. Nextdoor is similar to Facebook, but it's way more localized and community oriented. So I made a post on Nextdoor letting everybody know in my neighborhood or in surrounding neighborhoods that I was starting my own mobile detailing business and that I was offering my services to the area. To my surprise, this post did way better than I had expected. It got over 20,000 views, then it got over 100 something likes, 100 something comments, and then I had people DMing me asking me for my service menu and my price. From this post alone, I made that $3,000 investment back. This took about a month's time, and then I also got returning maintenance clients from this. Maintenance clients that I still see to this day, I had gotten from that first initial Nextdoor post. In another video, I'll go more in depth of how I created this post, the strategy that I used in creating it, and why I think that it did as well as it did. Another thing that I did to get clients right when I started was I created a Google My Business account. This has many benefits, but one of the benefits is that you can get reviews on your Google My Business account. Customers can see this. I started to ask for reviews from every customer that I was getting. So once those 5-star reviews start to pile up, it's a free lead generator that is locally based. The more reviews you have, the more likely you are to show up on people's searches for a mobile detailer or a detailer in your area. That's the last thing that I would recommend, that when you start, you have to put yourself out there and let people know that you are starting a business. Let people know you are a business owner. Let people know that you are a detailer and that you have your own business, that you can service their vehicles. It's weird and awkward at first because you're not used to it, but once you start telling people, the word gets out there and people are interested in your service and you become more comfortable with offering your services to people. It's because I started with such a good foundation, I was able to quit my job within that first month of starting my business, and I was able to pay back my investment within that same first month. That Nextdoor post really helped me out. It made my investment back, but then it also gave me returning clients. So after that first month, it was like a snowball effect, and it was just rolling, and I was gaining more of a foundation, more of a customer basis, referrals from customers that I already service, things from social media. And then as I put myself out there more, people learned about my business, and I was able to just keep snowball rolling into each month after that. I'm not going to say that I'm this huge successful detailer, but I was able to transition into detailing full time on my own, and that is what the ultimate goal was. And now the goal is to continue to grow my business from here. If you like this video, this is the first in my series on starting a mobile detailing business. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them below. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.